Let's call to order. I think if people are curious, this is not an after-school special we're about to film, but we'll address that in a moment. But as has been our tradition as we gather today for the Village Council regular meeting of December 10th, 2024, we'll begin as we usually do with an invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll ask Reverend Hugh Tudor to come forward and please lead us.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we ask you to bless this mayor and council as they represent the people and community of Pinehurst. Grant that they may have a spirit of wisdom and charity and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may serve as they consider the needs and concerns of our community. We thank you for guiding them and their service to all of us, and we pray that they may have a joyful holiday and all the blessings of the new year. In your holy name, amen.
Amen.
Ask all the youngsters here who led us in a Pledge of Allegiance during the course of the last year to come on forward. You're going to lead us all together, and then we have a little something for you guys.
I didn't think we had that many meetings.
Come on up to the front here. Just line up right here. And make sure. Is this working? Yes. I want to, we've got with us, oh, there's Holden. Okay, I want to make sure I recognize the face. There's Holden and Porter, Sam, and Bridget, Eli, Braxton, Kinley, Lascelle, Tucker, Caleb. Okay? All right. Well, when we appreciate what you have done in the past as individuals, and we're asking you now to lead us all again in the Pledge of Allegiance as a group. So why don't, Holden, why don't you take the lead and begin when you're ready, and everybody join in. How's that? Please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, and the Village of Pinehurst has a little something for each of you, a patch that you can sew on, whatever is the appropriate clothing, and it's just a way of saying thank you, because you can't start too young participating in government. One of you guys will someday probably be mayor, and we want you to, you can bring this patch back and show everybody when you got it. So thank you. Thank you for all you do. Turn around so we can get a quick little photo of everybody.
Guys, thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, that was different and fun. Now we'll go to, and by the way, let me make a note here. Dr. Morgan's not with us tonight. He had a bit of a family emergency. Everything's fine, but he's not able to join us. So that's why the chair's empty. We'll begin with reports from as we usually do, with the village manager. Doug.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first want to bring up that the Pinehurst Beautification Committee is hosting our holiday decoration party or contest, a Pinehurst Christmas. So it is open into 2 different categories. We have single-family homes and businesses. You can go on our website. I'll just kind of highlight it here. You can get the application here. They are asking people to submit nominations by next Monday, December 16th. And judging will take place on Thursday, December 19th after dark. So make sure you get all your lights up this weekend and enter in so we can enjoy that. While we're on the website, I just wanted to point out that next year's solid waste calendar is up and running, so you can get that as well. And last of all, I just want to let everyone know that the Rassy Wicker Park is currently closed until March, as we install the artificial turf there to extend the playing times and abilities or different activities that we can have on the artificial turf over there. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, a few things to report to the community. One is last night I had the pleasure of attending the Pinehurst number 6 community gathering, and Doug was there, made an excellent presentation on sidewalks. He's quite popular with that community. And I'd also want to mention that the last week also I attended the meeting of the Moore County Municipal Leaders. That's made up of the 13 municipalities. We met at the Robbins Fire Station, and we discussed a lot of local issues. Of course, one was the ETJ challenge that we have to be vigilant about, and we sent a letter to our elected representatives, and we'll be following up with that. We copied the county commissioners on that, and we discussed other issues regarding taxes and so forth. I also had the honor of attending and turning over a shovel of dirt for the Sandhills Carolina Lodge groundbreaking. For some of you, you may recall a few months ago, the council heard from the developers of the Sandhills Carolina Lodge. It's a 100-bed skilled nursing assisted living center that's going to be built right off Midland Road there, behind the Ironwood Cafe and the Carolina Eye facility. And we had a good time turning over the dirt, and we're all optimistic that about a year from now, there'll be some people moving into there, and it'll provide a lot of fine jobs for the community and be an asset to the village of Pinehurst. I also attended the oath of office swearing in for Tom Adams and Nick Picerno to the Moore County Board of Commissioners. That was held at the historic Carthage Courthouse, and so we'll be working obviously with the county commissioners as we do from time to time, and it was good to talk with them all. And following that, also last week, Doug and I had the pleasure of being on a Zoom call to Dornoch, Scotland. You know, they're our sister city, the ancestral home there of Donald Ross, and we exchanged some ideas and laid out some plans that about what our two communities can do together, in addition to some junior golf tournaments and some other things. So Doug's going to be shepherding through how these plans end up coming out, but it was pretty exciting. It actually worked. For an hour, we were on a Zoom call to some folks in Scotland, and it was much earlier in the morning there than it was here, but they did toast the event with some scotch, so that was fine. Also had the attended the last Sandhills Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting, the final one for the year. As we get prepared for next year, we have a new, I guess we call it executive director of that organization, and we have a variety of challenges in front of us and discussions to have regarding transportation planning for the whole area here, particularly in the Tri-Cities. I also was able to attend with my colleagues sitting up here the Neighborhood Advisory Committee meeting, and they were active as ever, and with a couple of new members. And I think we had a good presentation on golf cart safety and those type of issues. So those of you that wonder about your representative, they do speak up at these meetings, and it's helpful. The two other things: one, I was invited to attend the grand opening of the Putter Girl Golf Shop. It's just over the line. It's not technically in Pinehurst. It's in Taylortown, right there next to what's the Three Angels, the donut shop, the great donut shop over there.
Southern Angel.
Southern Angels. Okay.
I know it well.
And you know, okay, I just figured you did. Great donuts. But anyway, it's convenient to us all, and they even have a golf simulation game in the back there. So, and finally, I did get to participate in Pinehurst number 6 is highway litter pickup on 15501 North last week, and I was working pretty closely with one gentleman there who had been at Fort Bragg and then retired, and then went into became a policeman somewhere. And he was a big proponent of increasing the fines on people, because he actually told me he enjoyed giving out a ticket for someone he saw littering. And even if it was a cigarette, he was a very dedicated litter picker-upper. So it probably is an issue we'll tackle later in the year. But anyway, rather a long report, but it's been a month since we all met, so lots going on. Now I'll ask John Taylor if he had things to add.
Thank you, Pat. Yes, I first of all attended the technical coordinating committee meeting of the SMPO, which happens before the board meeting, and primarily just for the benefit of people here and people listening, they are looking at some sources of grant funding that are available both for the planning that the SMPO has to do and potentially for recommendations that may, for actions that may come out of that. They did mention some uncertainty in their mind as to the ongoing nature of the availability of this funding given new administrations both in Raleigh and in Washington, D.C. coming up next year, which I thought was interesting, and forward those all onto their board approval. A little while ago, I volunteered, and as always happens in government, if you volunteer, was selected to participate as Pinehurst representative with the Airport Authority, who is looking at the possibility of building, either renovating or building a new terminal out at Moore County Airport. They intend to have 3 meetings as sort of a steering committee for that. This is separate and apart from a parallel effort that they're looking at the possibility of reintroducing commercial service to Moore County. But whether that happens or not, they have obtained some grant funding already from the FAA, and are trying to gather information about what people would like to see in light of the very heavy traffic that we saw for the U.S. Open, and just a general increase in private aviation. So as a pilot, I find that interesting, and I'll have another meeting in January and February before coming up with some recommendations. I had a conversation this past week with the state demographer, and I did that because having written the op-ed that many of you may have seen in the pilot a couple of weeks ago, I'm interested in the way that the state projects population going forward. It turns out that there actually is a database that they maintain for every county in North Carolina that projects population by age from 0 to 100 plus. So it's an enormous spreadsheet, and I've stripped out the Moore County, and I'm interested to know how they forecast how many births there are going to be in 2027 or 2042, any of those things. I had a very interesting conversation with the gentleman, and would expect to follow up on that and learn a little more. And I think this is germane for us because as the state DOT completes its transportation demand model for Moore County, they will be coming to Pinehurst and other municipalities and asking us to update some population forecast estimates. And I just would like to understand how the state goes about that and see if there's anything we can learn as we go forward. As Pat mentioned, I was very happy to be there for the tree lighting ceremony this past Friday night. And on Saturday, I also attended out at Fort Liberty the holiday party that was given by the commanding general of FORSCOM, who happens, and it's unfortunate he's not here, but it happens to have been Jeff Morgan's roommate when they were at the academy a few years ago. It was a very nice function. Jeff was there also, and nice to continue to have a representation and a presence with them as they continue to expand. And although we may not share a common boundary, we certainly have a number of issues in common, and it's good to know the people who are in charge over there. That's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Ficklin.
Thank you. Just one thing I wanted to tell you about. The Moore County Commissioners have asked Moore County citizens to consider assistance to Transylvania County citizens. Transylvania County, if you don't know, is obviously in the western part of the state, a little bit southwest of Asheville. They're known as the land of waterfalls, and they were hit very hard by Hurricane Helene. They are setting up a collection site for donated cold weather resources to be delivered to Transylvania County at New Covenant Fellowship Church, 1305 Hulsey Road in Carthage. Donations will be accepted from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thursday, December 12th, Friday, December 13th, and Saturday, December 14th. Moore County volunteers will deliver the supplies to Anchor Baptist Ministries in Transylvania County for the following week. Requested resources include coats and boots for all ages and sizes for both children and adults. Let's see, while coats and boots are especially needed, other cold water items such as blankets, socks, hats, gloves, etc. will be accepted. And this is an important notation, only new items will be accepted. They are also announcing that anybody who wishes to offer housing or debris removal assistance can find more details and may indicate their available resources via a form on the Moore County website. And that's at www.moorecountync.gov. So encourage you, if you can, to please provide assistance. By the way, Transylvania County is where Brevard is, if you've ever been to Brevard, that part of the world. So thank you.
Barb, where can people who have some of the items drop them off?
That's the address in Carthage. Anybody who wants a copy of this, I can give you this if you want to see me after the meeting.
Okay. Councilman Farrell.
Thank you, Mayor. One item, I attended along with 100 or so other municipal officials a meeting with the North Carolina League of Municipalities, and the subject matter was ETJs, extraterritorial jurisdiction. And we went over the history of ETJs in North Carolina, along with discussion on more recent legislation and action that's been taken by various counties and or the legislature relative to ETJs. And the idea of the meeting was to get together with representatives from all the municipalities so that we can distribute talking points as to why at least the North Carolina League of Municipality feels that ETJs are a valuable asset to the community, and also distribute some case studies, and also solicit some input as to our recent experiences with ETJs and so forth. I will say that in discussing ETJ legislation, there seemed to be a significant amount of confusion as to the genesis of the recent issues relative to ETJ, where they're coming from and or who is sponsoring them. The League of Municipalities wasn't really clear on that matter, which I thought was sort of interesting. But regardless, they are adamant that ETJs, and I feel strongly also that ETJs can be of value to the community and to the North Carolina in general. I will distribute to you guys the talking points and the case study examples, along with actually the slides that were used during the presentations. You may find it of some interest. So I think it's something that we need to keep on top of with our representatives. And also, we also need to consider our whole relationship with our ETJ in general as we move forward through the comprehensive plan review maybe next fall. So I think it's an important subject.
Thank you. Maybe, Jack, what you want to share with us, we can put on the website for our residents to be aware of.
Right.
Sounds like a very comprehensive thing that is
Right.
very
Will-
educational.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay.
And
Thank
Pat,
you.
one other thing I forgot. I was actually at a presentation by a fairly senior representative of the USGA, the highlights of which were in the article in the pilot about the economic impact that they felt. But this went into a lot more detail. I've asked him to send me that's a 7 or 8 slide deck, and I will distribute that as well. Just some more detail than what was picked up in the paper.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to item 4, a motion to approve the consent agenda. The items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine or have been discussed at length in previous meetings and will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion will be held unless requested by a member of the village council. These items include the November 12th regular meeting minutes, the November 12th work session minutes, the December 3rd special meeting minutes, and approval of the 2025 council meeting schedule, which I gather will also be placed on the website so that the public will know when precisely these meetings will be held during the year 2025. So I'll consider a motion if someone would like to make one.
I move to approve all the items listed and considered routine on the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion adopted. We are at the end of the consent agenda, and we go to item 5. And this is the public comments portion. And if anyone has any, we're going to check. And if not, we're moving quickly. Okay. Well, we don't have any. But that's not going to spare you because I have a few public comments I wanted to make, just a reflection of the past year. And I got thinking about this after the Christmas tree lighting. It has been a terrific year, 2024, for the village of Pinehurst. We just celebrated the annual lighting of the tree with about, 2,000 friends and neighbors or so. It was just packed with people. In a happy mood. In addition to being the most famous town in North Carolina, Pinehurst, according to Zillow, we are the most popular retirement destination in America. And if you go to a website called GoBankingRates.com, we were rated the safest and most affordable place to retire in the country. The village continued to have the lowest tax rate in Moore County, no debt, not a single vacant storefront, and the Pinehurst Elementary School is the highest rated public school in Moore County. All things that we can all be proud of. We hired, in the course of this last year, we hired a new village manager, we appointed a new council member, and we're getting close to breaking ground on a new Given Memorial Library. And did I mention, or did anyone mention, the 2024 U.S. Open was considered by many to be the best ever. So we're doing well here. We should be thankful. We're blessed. We are a community of many, many volunteers, and our future is bright. So my fellow residents, I want to leave you with an adaptation of John F. Kennedy's most famous phrase, which is, ask not what Pinehurst can do for you, ask what you can do for Pinehurst. Please volunteer and participate in this vibrant village that some people refer to as a bit of paradise here in the Sandhills. So let's make 2025 a great year. That concludes all the public comments. All right, now we can go on to resolutions. And the first resolution is Resolution 24-37, honoring Mr. Paul Roberts for his service on the Planning and Zoning Board. Am I right about that, Paul? Yes. Okay, well, I'm going to ask you to come forward, and you can be embarrassed while I read this. Here we go. A resolution honoring the service of Mr. Paul Roberts. Whereas Mr. Paul Roberts has been a dedicated and invaluable member of the Village of Pinehurst community, and whereas Mr. Roberts served with distinction on the Planning and Zoning Board and the Board of Adjustment from 2018 to 2024, generously volunteering his time and expertise in making his significant contributions to the thoughtful and responsible growth of the village. And whereas Mr. Roberts was instrumental in the development of the Village Place and Pinehurst South small area plans and form-based guidance plans, which were adopted by the Village Council in May of 2023, and whereas Mr. Roberts' contributions to these boards has had a profound and lasting impact on the Village of Pinehurst. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Pinehurst, North Carolina, in a regular meeting assembled this 10th day of December 2024 as follows: that the Village Council hereby expresses, on behalf of the citizens of Pinehurst, its sincere gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Paul Roberts for his exemplary service and dedication to the community. And a copy of this resolution will be made permanent minutes of the Village of Pinehurst and will be executed by the mayor and presented to Mr. Roberts as a token of our esteem. Congratulations, Paul Roberts. Like a patch?
Yes, I'd like a patch, Mr. Mayor. Okay, well, all my remarks are complete then. Hey, thanks a lot. Just like I said in my last meeting, it has been an honor, a great learning experience, and certainly great people working with you on the board. So thanks a lot. Look forward to doing it again.
And thank you. So I move to approve Resolution 24-37, honoring Mr. Paul Roberts for his years of service on the Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Adjustment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion adopted. Let us move on to Resolution B, 2440, reappointing Mr. Bruce Hieronymus to the Planning and Zoning Board and the Board of Adjustment. Doug, is there anything you want to tell us about?
Yeah, Bruce is not here, but he has served faithfully on the Planning and Zoning and Board of Adjustments. He has another term that he's able to serve, and he is willing to do that, and we think he will continue to be a great fit and recommend that he be approved.
Okay. Should the resolution be read?
I move to approve Resolution 24-40, reappointing Mr. Bruce Hieronymus to the Planning and Zoning Board and Board of Adjustment effective January 1st, 2025 until December 31st, 2027.
Okay. We have a motion?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion approved. We are on now to regular business. Item 7. This first item, 7A, is to consider the contract for the comprehensive update to the Pinehurst Development Ordinance. Doug, do you want to sort of lead this off, or do we have Alex? Are you going to come forward?
Yeah, while Alex walks up, I'll try to tell everything that he will say. But as you know, we have interviewed several different candidates for the consultant to prepare an update for the PDO. And we have recommended that we go with Kimley Horn, and Alex has negotiated an excellent scope and contract with Kimley Horn. So we are recommending that we approve that. As you may recall, we also added in an update for them to update our engineering standards manual as well. So that is also included in this contract. We recommend approval, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Council members, I'll ask if anyone has any question or comment they want to make. I do think this is an important matter that we're undertaking.
Oh, it's clearly an important matter. I've reviewed it in incredible detail, and I think it's well-constructed, and I think the proposal has, the project plan is well thought out, and it has a lot of checkpoints, which I particularly like, and I think it'll go well. I think as we go along with the project, there'll be adjustments here and there always are, but in general, I think it's really well-constructed at this point in time. I'm shocked and pleased by the price you were able to accomplish with these folks. Whatever, we'll give you credit.
Alex is a very good negotiator.
I noticed
Yeah.
that, yes.
Speaking from experience.
I think, Alex, you'll probably mention this, but I think it's important we state that there will be a good amount of public involvement in this process. So those of you who are here or listening, this is your chance, or over the coming year will be your chance to have some input into what we end up developing, because what we end up developing will guide us for many years. We don't do this every year. I can't remember the last time we did it. Jack, you probably remember. I don't remember the exact date.
More than 10 years.
14, so it's been 10 years. So, okay. Any other thoughts before
Yeah, I had one observation I'd like to make, and one question is more for clarification. There was a statement in there that and by the way, I agree with Jack's points, that I was happy to see the number of checkpoints that they have as they go along. There was something in there about they're going to take a tour for areas of redevelopment / ETJ. And it wasn't clear to me whether that meant they're going to tour the ETJ or whether they view the ETJ as a likely place for redevelopment.
So it's typical with these processes, you know, the consultant, and especially after having input from, you know, the local jurisdiction on items or areas that are of more importance, right? Obviously, the ETJ, due to, you know, in line with Jack's comments he made during the council report, ETJ is an area of interest, right? Also areas, as you guys recall during the interview process, this group in particular, and I think another consultant group, realized that we don't have a large assemblage or area of vacant property within our jurisdiction. So what does that mean? That means pressure will become, after time, for redevelopment. So areas that are of interest that could, or potentially could come to redevelopment within the life of this to-be-conceived document, and areas in the ETJ that it's worthy of the consultants to actually get there and see the area, and so they can help through the process of developing the code, and with the input along the way through staff, the council, and the public, put in any safeguards that we need to have through the development review and process.
So, John, I would just say that where there's a slash there, it may have been more appropriate to have a comma, but we didn't feel like it was necessary to
No.
change it.
It was just, I was happy with the clarification,
Yeah.
that's fine. The other, but it led me to another point, which I think kind of goes in parallel with this. We're scheduled to do some sort of review of the comp plan in calendar 2025. And I would suggest that we move that as early in the year as we can, so that if there are any changes, Kimley Horn is aware of those early in their process, rather than waiting until June or July or August and the train is going down the tracks, and then we say, well, wait a minute, and ETJ happens to be one where in the comp plan there are some things which I would like to see discussed by the council. It's not to say that we'll change anything, but it's been really closer to 6 years since the report was gathered, and 5 years since it was written, and things have changed, and our people's views may have changed about some of those things. I would just encourage us to get that process moving as quickly as we can, so that Kimley is working with as current information as they can.
If there are any changes to any of the implementation strategy or major adjustments or focal points that need to be either marked off the list or not considered with this review, or items that have risen through that rank as more important, then yes, I think they would agree that the earlier they get that input through the process, the better.
What do we need to do to help make that happen?
So our plan is in January, we'll provide a status update on all the implementation steps that they gave us. After we reviewed that, our next step was to survey council and get your input and your areas of concern in the existing comp plan. So
Okay.
Originally we were going to do that in the summer, but maybe we can bump that up and do that sooner.
I think that's just good process. It will ultimately pay dividends down the road. But the contract itself, I thought, was very well done.
I would just add that throughout the interview process, I was impressed with Kimley Horn's professionalism, their thoroughness, their understanding of our organization, and certainly the contract reflects all of that. So I think this is going to be a very successful partnership and project.
Only thing I'll request is let's be as transparent as we can on our website so our residents can follow what we're doing and what are crucial dates coming up and so forth.
I can see me routinely providing updates in similar setting that we're in this evening as well.
I think one of the provisions in the contract is they're going to establish a separate website, so.
Oh, that's right. Great. Okay, that can be worked on. All right. Is there any further discussion? I'll ask that first. I don't think there is. So now is there a motion?
I'd be happy to make a motion. I move to approve the contract for the comprehensive update to the Pinehurst Development Ordinance with Kimley Horn in the amount of $216,625 and authorize the mayor or the village manager to execute the contract and approve the necessary budget amendment.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion is adopted. Thank you very much, Alex and team, and look forward to continuing to work on this. I mentioned earlier, we're going to item B about the celebration of the Donald Ross 152nd birthday with the town of Dornach in Scotland. Doug, what you
I
like to...
didn't have much else to add, just that it was a good experience. We had a good turnout both in Dornoch and here. I want to thank Eric Kuster from the resort that had a lot to say and made it a very effective meeting. A lot of partnership opportunities between their club and the club here in Pinehurst. And I was amazed that the technology worked so well. It was like Zoom was a dream, so it was great.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd want council to be aware of an upcoming date we need to know about, or nothing?
Not at this point. I'll stay in touch with their general manager, and we're going to work on different areas that we want to focus on, that we can maybe partner and create more of a sister city relationship between the two of us.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I participated in that, and it was fun and interesting, and there is certainly a linkage between our two communities, and one of a historical nature.
I would look forward to a recognition, say on February 5th or thereabouts, of James Walker Tuff's birthday, who founded this entire place.
We can remember that, yeah.
I think we have a request from a member of the council, and we'll make note and prepare for that celebration. Thanks for pointing that out, Jack. You can tell us about some of those birthdays you attended with him.
Yes.
Oh, what a cheap shot.
That's the only comment I had on that one. Thank you.
All right. We can move on to item C, and Doug, I'll turn it over to you about the pleasant surprise of a appreciation presentation to us at the strategic retreat. So go ahead.
Yeah, we had joining with us Reg Jones and John Bodenhammer from the USGA. John is the Chief Championships Officer, and they presented us with this nice, I'm not sure what you call this, proclamation for us to hang in our lobby. We found a nice place for it, but they just wanted to share their appreciation for our cooperation during the 124th U.S. Open this past June. It was a great experience. We are always very grateful to Reg and his team. They're a dream to work with. They are very dedicated to our needs and cooperatively working out any problems that we come across. So again, thankful for them and everything that they do, and looking forward to doing it again in about 4 years.
All right. Thank you. And it was a pleasant surprise, and we appreciate that. All righty, let us go on to other business. I'll ask members of the council if they have any other business they'd like to raise or point out. Jack,
Not here, thank you.
Taylor?
I'm looking forward to the work session. Nothing further at this time.
All right, I have three minor items that I just want to sort of put on the agenda for future use, and maybe at the next one, be nice to get a little update or briefing of proposals that are in the pipeline from developers, rather wherever they might be, just so that our situational awareness as these things move forward. I did note that there was a lot of clearing behind the brewery on McCaskill there. I understand it wasn't trees, it was vines, which I guess do not fall under our airtight ordinance of clear cutting. But I didn't know if that was an indication of anything imminent.
Yeah, they've had discussions with our planning and zoning department. I don't know enough details to, talk about it here, but that is something we could talk about or we can include in an update to council.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. And the last thing I wanted to mention, and we've talked about this, I think in general, sort of offline among some of us, is and it relates a little bit to the ETJ experience. I think we ought to give some consideration to allowing more than one and no more than two residents of the ETJ to be on the Planning and Zoning Board. So I ask folks to just think about that. It's not uncommon. Other communities do that. The Whispering Pines has the majority of their Planning and Zoning Board who are in their ETJ. But given that it's something we tend to be dealing with a lot more every now and then, it'd be worthwhile to have an additional voice there. So, Doug, give it some thought about what we might have to do to allow that to be a possibility, and we can take it from there.
Yeah, there's a council policy that directs the makeup of it, but we could amend that.
Okay, maybe we can look at that in the new year, somewhere in January. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, no, I like that idea. In fact, I could expand on that at some time in the future about more of an outreach to our ETJ citizens as to, because many of them feel that they are, if you ask them where they live, many would say Pinehurst, and I think that we need to understand that they have as much affinity to the municipality as the actual residents do, and so we need to recognize that in some form. So I think we ought to talk about to what extent we communicate better with our ETJ citizens, and I think it would serve us well, and maybe they could also be our ally in any efforts to make sure that we maintain the integrity of the ETJ.
Okay.
Jack, I would extend that. I agree with that, but I would extend it to also say that we recognize that there are things that we should approach differently in the ETJ to the extent we have jurisdiction over that. And because we recognize that, we're always interested in their input.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. Hearing no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, and then we can take a 10-minute break and reconvene and go right into the work session.
I move to adjourn the regular meeting.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. So adopted.